Okay, here is my graph that goes from the left to the right. Okay? And on the right, I have anarchy. On the left, I have nihilists. And so nihilists say, burn it down, including the people, but not me. Anarchists say, burn it down, including people, but not my clan. And so here I have a little map. So on the bottom I put whites, Native Americans, and Asians. They go all the way from left to right. Have corrupt science grifters like Neil deGrasse Tyson. And then men and women also, all the way from left to right. I put Democrats, Republicans, Socialists, oligarchs, fascists, and monarchy go all the way from left to right because I think everyone would agree that sometimes they go all the way to nihilism and sometimes they go all the way to anarchy. It just depends on what they want and what they need. I have Antifa. They definitely stop, before they get too far right. Hassan, he's definitely on the left. He considers himself a progressive. He's not very liberal, but he will dip into it if it suits him. If he thinks that his viewership will go with it. Joe Biden, he has a 50-year career that you can follow, and he's done lots of things where he's worked with the right. And there's lots of things in his former Senate seat where he would do things that were probably by today's would be considered far right. And then we have Ronald Reagan. He was not, as far right as everybody seems. He did dip into the conservative. And I put engineers here and the hard science in the conservative because math makes you pretty much a conservative. You don't believe you can change things because the math is the math. And then for, I put Trekkies right here because I just want to put it like as a fandom. Pretty much you can go, from extreme to extreme, from progressive to conservative, and still be a fan or in a fandom. Harry Potter, Star Wars, all those things are all in there. Then we have the progressives. And you can see I've put all these people here. Huak Tua, Kamala Harris. I put pro-abortion is pretty much just on the center and the progressive. Though sometimes it can go a little further right that people are pro-abortion. Trump is, has been pro-abortion. He has been pro-abortion forever. So you see I have him here kind of in the center as a liberal. And I have Joe Rogan, CNN. I have Sitchin Adam on the left of the center. I have Tim Pool on the right of the center. Jordan Peterson. I don't think he goes further than barely touching conservative. And then we have like Glenn Beck and Ben Shapiro, definitely conservative. And then, here is where I have a problem with people using the word conservative. African Americans, and I mean by that people from Africa. Black people from Africa. Latinos, Muslims. And then I have here libertarians, Mormons, pro-lifers, evangelicals. They are, all pretty conservative. African Americans are among some of the most conservative people. And then up at the top I have, you know, married heterosexuals are usually liberal to conservative. Married with children are almost always conservative, though they do dip into the liberal side as well. And then I have teenagers and people without kids. They go to the left and they go to the extreme right, and they're not usually conservative, but they can go extreme right or center to extreme left. And one of the problems I have with people using the word conservative is they're using it incorrectly. African Americans, Latinos, Mormons, Muslims, those people are conservative. They are not Democrat or Republican by nature. There are some, especially among evangelicals and even Mormons, there are liberals in those places. There's not very many liberal Latinos. Cesar Chavez was very anti-immigration. He was very conservative. Most Catholics are at least mostly conservative. Muslims are, you know, extremely conservative, and they don't move into liberalism if they really live their religion. So my problem with people saying right wing or left wing is that you're not addressing the people who are conservative or progressive or even liberal, and you're destroying your ability to communicate effectively with conservatives when you group them in with progressives, like saying Muslims are on the left in a group, or Latinos are on the left, and it makes you ineffective. The GOP has had a problem with this, is they just don't know, they just stick to basic ideas. They don't address conservative or progressive. They kind of go with the wind. And Democrats have shifted to the far left and have completely abandoned the middle. And they've allowed Republicans to take over that ground. And Republicans have been notoriously wishy-washy for decades. Even Ronald Reagan made deals with the left on like amnesty and things like that. And those are things that Latinos did not want. Remember, this is the age of Cesar Chavez, and he was, and Bernie Sanders was also anti-illegal immigration. It takes jobs away from people. It devalues basic work, and you know, people say things like doing jobs Americans won't do. Well, that's, number one, not true. And the more you say it, the more people believe that it's true. And you got a lot of unemployed people sitting around doing nothing when they could be out doing, quote unquote, the jobs that Americans won't do. So this is my right-left graph. Progressive, liberal, and conservative, the right and the left does not change. It's only the window that changes, and people move on this graph left and right. Some of them have a hard stop, you know, like engineers, Ben Shapiro, you know, Muslims, libertarians, Latinos, African Americans. They definitely won't move too far liberal because they have almost a religious belief. And the same goes with the people in the progressive stack here. they will not go too far right because of their religious beliefs. Although I guess you could debate whether or not progressivism is a religion, but parties are always going to move. Parties can go all the way down this and all the way up this graph. And I wish we would stop using, left wing and right wing to mean Democrat and Republican, because it's not so. And it's definitely not representing the people who are conservative and are not left wing, and people who are progressive and are not right wing. And we need to really kind of stop doing that so we can get some effective communication, stop changing the meaning of words, and actually be able to address things correctly. So that's my left-right graph right there.